honestly, I really miss this type of format, and I'm really happy to see you guys because today's going to be a fun video. I just wanted to do a little sit down and share about my EDC or my everyday carry, and it's just stuff that I am generally just grateful for. And I think during this time of year, it's Thanksgiving, we should show what we're appreciative for and just see how far things have come along since we were like kids, and just seeing the tech grow over the years and becoming more like powerful and convenient for myself has always been a really cool thing. So I just like to nerd out and geek out about those types of things. And yeah, I just want to share and mention my 5 EDC things that I can't live without and talk about how far they've come. So let's get into it. Okay, the first thing on my list is actually something kind of boring. I want to do the maybe normal things to something that would surprise you. And that is my smartphone. So everyone has a smartphone these days. Everyone goes on social media. Everyone uses YouTube. But it wasn't that easy back when we were kids, at least when I graduated in 2012, which was actually, dang, now that I think about it, it was like 10 years ago. Wow. Okay, so yeah, about 10 years ago, the best thing that I had at the time was a capacitive touch phone that uses like a hard press in the screen itself to just go through a really simple web browser. But I remember for the longest time as a kid, I had a flip phone from T-Mobile, and it was actually sporting a kind of a modern look because it never had an antenna that you had to pull out from the phone. A lot of the phones at the time my parents had were like these walkie-talkie and pager type of combos that they would use for work and personal life. But it was really cool to finally have my own phone in middle school that I could use to call my friends and T9 text people, even though I didn't have texting at the time and it was really, really expensive to even send a couple SMS messages. So that whole world and like interconnectivity was super new to me, and I really was excited to have like a phone of my own that I could just call people with. Like, it felt like you had your own kind of, you know, like personal walkie-talkie as a kid, like that you know, played around with. And it was just really cool. And I'm really glad to be a part of that era where phones were becoming more of a household type of, well, cell phones specifically were becoming more of a, like a ubiquitous individual kind of gadget. And now I have a Google Pixel 5, which absolutely smashes my little T-Mobile flip phone. You can go on YouTube, you can go on literally any site, do research, look up references for art. It's just crazy. It records in 4K, which is higher quality and resolution than this video. It's absolutely nuts, and I always like splurge about like how spoiled I am whenever I have the chance to use it. So it also helps me enable and stay connected with all of my friends and family these days. So, I mean, again, it's no surprise everyone has one these days, and I'm just really grateful for it. And it's come a long way within like these past, I don't know, decade or two. Yeah, it's crazy. The next couple of devices that I have on the list aren't going to be like totally standalone. They are tied to a smartphone, but the next thing I think you can imagine is, what do we also carry around with us? Well, a lot of us wear watches on our wrists. So, of course, technology comes along and says, why not make that smart? You know, why not make that unnecessarily smart and get you more hooked and connected to the people around you and to social media? Doesn't that sound great and not totally dystopic like in a cyberpunk world? Well, not entirely. It still has a long way to come, but the only reason why I wanted to get a smartwatch, of all things, I haven't been a big watch person to begin with. I've only worn like a simple analog, like two-handed watch, and that's all I've ever really needed. But sort of as the days were going on and the smartwatch features started getting better and better, I was kind of yearning for this type of connectivity, for just getting notifications and seeing when my friends would like ping me for messages. And this isn't sad or anything, but I did kind of want more of that connectivity. I felt a little lonely, and I was like, you know, there is a little bit of that fear of missing out, and you want to stay up to date on all the latest things and know when your friends are up to something exciting. So when you get this little vibration ping on your wrist while I was sort of doing like boring work throughout my day job, I could just check it really quick and be like, wow, like, oh, they're up to something cool, or they're traveling. And just seeing that type of stuff was just really fun to me. And you can even like reply with a quick little emoji face or whatever. And then when you have time to go on your actual phone, you will just like reply with a Telegram sticker or a long message. And it even goes a step further. Like, I only wanted this smartwatch for that one basic feature for vibration notifications, but you can even treat it like a full walkie-talkie. And I think that's like the third time I said walkie-talkie. But you can even put it on your wrist, and like James Bond back in the days, as a kid watching those movies, you could talk into your communicator and you could like hear the other person on the other end of the call. You can even activate your Google Assistant or whatever you use, and you can send messages with the computer on your wrist. It is nuts. So I really do geek out about that, and it also tracks like a whole bunch of things that I never bought it for. But it does heart rate monitoring, it does like elevation, steps. I get to see how many calories I burn a day just from walking. It's really nuts, and I don't need anything more than just pinging notifications. But yeah, I definitely would recommend this because it just helps me keep in touch a little bit more and be a little bit more connected. I mean, however you want to view that, I know some people find that a little bit kind of, maybe you don't want to connect so much. And on those days, I do just leave it at home and on the desk. I don't need it all the time, but I really do like that kind of up-to-date feeling. So yeah, one other thing that is connected to the phone, and I think a lot of people will definitely have gripes about this, are headphones. A lot of the days, for myself growing up, everything was wired. You wanted to have a wire for a clear connection from your audio jack to your device. You wanted to just listen to your music. It was simple. Take your wired headphones, plug it in. That was all you were going to use it for, and the connection was always perfect. Well, if you bought cheap stuff like me, usually at like the 7-Eleven, because you couldn't afford really good headphones, and every so often a pair of headphones, or I think one of the brands was called Jellies, they would crap out on me from me just like, well, it was all my fault though, because I would take the Jellies headphones in middle school and in high school, and between classes, I would wrap them up into like a bird's nest, shove them in my pocket, and then I would go to the next class. But if you treated them better, they'll probably last longer. But they were like a $5 or $10 pair of headphones that was really easy for me as a kid to purchase at the time. So having those on hands were really nice. But at the end of the day, I would always have to unbundle and figure out what were the little knots that went into that bird's nest of a headphone. And that's the thing too, as a minor soapbox, none of our modern devices really have an audio jack. So I know that's something a lot of people gripe about, but living in the modern world now, this brings me to the next device, and it's our headphones, our Bluetooth headsets. I use the Samsung Galaxy S2 buds nearly on like every day of the week, whether or not I'm working out or I'm at my day job just listening to an audiobook or a podcast on downtime, or when I'm just not needing to focus super hard. I'm like digesting some kind of new information, and I really like doing that. So I've read through at least like 6 or 7 books already in less than like half a year. So that's been like really great. I really do like keeping up with other furries podcasts and just any other kind of science fiction novels or fantasy novels I'm really big on. One that I completed recently was Blind Sight. That was a really good audiobook, so I highly recommend that if you like kind of first encountery alien types of novels. And second but not last, we have something that I would say really forwarded my art career when I started out very, very new. And as a kid, I couldn't even dream of this being a real thing. What I had back in the day was a pen tablet that my uncle loaned me, and I could hook up that pen tablet to my PC computer. and that allowed, it was more so for doing digital signatures and putting PDFs together online. But I found a SciTool program that I would use. It was a cracked version, by the way, and I would just do Finn and Jake fan artwork, and I would post like my little Adventure Time doodles and stuff to DeviantArt at the time, because all of my art friends were on there at the time. And that was my first entry into digital art, and leaving the sketchbook, sadly, and going fully digital and finding all of the freedoms of having this really cool Photoshop-like tool. And at the time, again, this is all I could really afford. It was loan stuff from family and pirated programs. But you gotta make do with what you had. And what I carry now basically on a daily basis is my iPad Pro. I think it's the 2nd generation, and it's also paired with the Apple Pencil. It definitely needs the pencil. So I can open up this other program or app called Procreate. And it's a really great, inexpensive app that you could use to just draw on the go. I didn't realize how powerful the iPad Pro can really be as a drawing tool, because everything that I was used to at the time required like a Wacom $3,000 or $6,000 tablet paired with a supercomputer that could run Photoshop. But living from I think this device came out back in like 2018 or 2019, like only 4 years ago from 2022 now. Just to date this video, the iPad Pro came out, and we could basically have that level of performance in a little clipboard-sized tablet drawing pad. It is absolutely nuts, and that blows my mind even till today. So I'll do like some time-lapse videos, and I believe the last video that I posted to the channel for the Halloween update was all recorded on the iPad, and it has just always been a really good pleasure to draw on. I could fit that in on my breaks at work, or even just commuting, or if you sit on the bus, I could imagine that it's a really good handy gadget to just keep up with digital art and practice a little bit. And last but not least, what I think is the funnest, and I think my little inner child self would absolutely die for, was a emulator. I had a rant not too long ago about handhelds and the PS Vita and the Nintendo 3DS, and how all of these companies aren't really making handhelds anymore. The market is already really saturated with like mobile phone gaming, and a lot of companies pivoted away from like making little consoles. But it's sort of a weird thing now where come 2020, you flip the script and you have all of these third-party companies, or just companies outside of the US, that are manufacturing these really high-quality emulators. And everyone has been running ROMs for years on their PCs, but I've always been bummed out that I could never pick up a quality handheld device, take it with me, put it in my pocket, open it, and in 5 seconds just have a game loaded and running. And oh my gosh, I'll tell you that this Anbernic product that I recently got, it is called the Anbernic RG280V, and I saw a few of other tech YouTubers review it, and I was totally enamored by the quality of it and just the ease of use. This is something that my little kid self has been dreaming of. I could load all of my GBA ROMs, and even GBC or just Game Boy ROMs and SNES, like all of the ROMs and the games that I've had growing up and always wanted to try but never had the funds to finally get, I can now put in a library and just access from my pocket. Like, that is sick. I am so happy that I could do that. So a lot of the things that I first booted up onto it was my Pokemon Emerald. I'm definitely going to do a little quick replay of that, and you can even emulate and fast forward so you can get through all of the grinding in Pokemon, and just get to the fun gym battles and the story of the game. One thing that I've been on recently was a game that I never got to play as a kid, but a lot of my friends always loved it and gave it high praise, was Super Mario RPG. It was basically the OG to Paper Mario and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and what we know is today as Super Paper Mario, and the funky directions that they're taking with that series. But nonetheless, this was the OG game that kickstarted it all, and I can finally try it now as an adult and relive some of that nostalgia that all of my friends were talking about. So I'm really happy that on my breaks, when I'm not doing art or doing my day job stuff, I can just take a breather and then chill with this device. So basically, that's my everyday carry. That I don't know if it's been a little long-winded, but I really appreciate sharing this with you guys, and I am very grateful for having all of these things now that we could just go out and get and just spend time on improving ourselves and enjoying more and more of our own leisure time doing. And I don't know, I find that that's a little underrated at times. So yeah, this is a little love letter to all of the cool little things that I like to use day to day and enjoy myself, pass some time, and relive some experiences that I had with my friends back in the day. So I hope you guys, maybe find something new in this little pile of stuff and can find more fun and enjoyment out of them. And yeah, I'd really like to also hear your experiences. If you have things that you like to carry that gives you a little bit more of a boost throughout the day, or just that little nice, fun niche thing that you enjoy. So I hope you guys take care and just have a nice Thanksgiving. It's the holiday season. It's great. I'm so excited. I have so many things coming up that I want to share in the future too. I have a fun couple of secret holiday items that I will be putting on the channel relatively soon, at least by the winter. I got a new channel intro coming up, so I'm really excited to start using those new assets and then just still putting out fun content. So I hope you guys take care. Bye-bye. Hello folks, you made it to the end of the video, and I wanted to congratulate you with this ad. If you want to check out more things that I do and keep up with my creative projects, you can follow my Twitter at Shikokubo. That's SHIKOKUBO. Fair warning, it is pretty Wild West up there, so whatever you see is what you get, and I'm not taking responsibility. But if you want to check out my Patreon, that's also at Shikokubo. That's SHIKOKUBO. And I generally treat it as a tip jar, so if you'd like to just throw some fun bucks my way, it goes a very long way for me, my projects, and the show. So I'll just still make this stuff, but a little goes a long way, and I really appreciate it. So I hope you guys have a great day, and take care. Bye-bye.